Day after 4, my kid is just so sad. And I have to say, good job, you did great, I'm so proud of you. They feel like by not understanding.
We are a two-man operation right now, so it does take a lot of effort to be able to refurbish and redistribute computers all by ourselves.
Thank you so much.
I grew up in Dalton, Massachusetts. Once I graduated and I had my degree, you really just try to get settled in somewhere with working with the species that you want to work with. I really love working with water birds, birds like pelicans. I knew of this place and have known about this place for quite a few years. Thankfully, this position had opened up. Now I just work with birds all the time. The birds that we see down here in the Keys are fish-eating birds, marsh birds at the time. We take in injured, orphaned wildlife, and we rehabilitate them until they are to the point where they can be released. And then we do that at that point in time. So I don't know what I'm gonna need. So I'm just gonna get a bunch of stuff. So we are a nonprofit organization. We are split into 2 different facilities. The hospital location is where we take in injured, orphaned wildlife. They really don't have anyone on their side but us. My, purpose in being is to really try to be the best advocate I can be for the birds that come through. We received a double-crested cormorant a few days ago. He was admitted and was very thin. He was not standing very well, very lethargic. One of the possibilities that we wanted to rule out under anesthesia, flailing around while we're trying to get the x-rays. There are quite a few cases we see per year that are hooked birds, ingested hooks, ripped pouches for pelicans. We see a lot with fish carcasses. So that is a human impact there. And we did in fact rule that out. He did not have an internal hook. So now we have to focus on getting a fecal on him so we can test for internal parasites. Because I am almost 100% positive he has some sort of internal parasites, and that's what's causing him to lose weight as so fast as he is. I predict we'll probably see 1,300 birds this year. The eastern screech owl, he was admitted last week. Ferocious. He is an adult. Very weird. He was actually leaning up against a tree when someone found him. So they were able to pick him right up, put him in a box. We were able to pick him up. We actually haven't found specifically what was wrong with him. So we've basically been giving him some supportive care, fluid therapy. We're force feeding him every day and monitor for signs of improvement. The second facility we have is the sanctuary. So these are permitted birds that basically went through the rehabilitation process and were deemed non-releasable. Our visitors play a huge role in our organization. We are a nonprofit, and so we run entirely on donations and grant money. If the birds start to dwindle down, it'll really start to affect the ecosystem, all of the plant life. Any species you look at is going to be super important for any ecosystem they're in.
I mean, teachers are doing a great job. They're trying their best to do what they do in class, but it's not sustainable. But let's just admit it. This is not normal times. It's a pandemic.
For many worldwide, smartphones are used for everything from financial transactions to social media. So when screens break or crack, it can feel like life itself comes to a halt. Longtime U.S. glassmaker Corning has spent more than a decade making smartphone glass stronger. That's of particular importance to growing smartphone markets such as India and China, where smartphones are an extravagant purchase for many.
These devices are typically a much higher percentage of a person's GDP in emerging regions. So durability and longevity of that phone becomes a much more critical feature than in other developed countries.
Corning, founded in 1851, has pivoted with the times. In 1879, Thomas Edison went to Corning for glass for his light bulb. Corning's glass is used in the windows for NASA's space shuttles. In the 1950s, Corning became a household name with Corningware cookware, and Steve Jobs used it for the iPhone. Now Corning dominates the worldwide smartphone glass industry. Its latest product, Gorilla Glass Victus, is even tougher, says the company.
Whenever we develop a new glass, we set the bar high. The new glass must be clearly better than our current flagship product and far superior to the competition.
Corning said they were able to improve both drop and scratch performance at the same time, a first in the industry.
Gorilla Glass Victus can drop from 2 meters in height, which is taller than I am, onto a rough surface like asphalt. And it has 2x better scratch performance than our previous glass.
So the next time you drop your phone and it miraculously doesn't shatter, it's most likely thanks to this company in upstate New York. Dina Mitchell for VOA News.
If any kid says mean stuff, you have to tell Miss Scarborough.
Okay.
Our son, he just started kindergarten, and he was quite excited. He loves going to school. He loved going to preschool. So when summer happened, we were really struggling to find him, and he's the only child, so find him a social aspect of kindergarten. And he had been home since March, but then all of his soccer, t-ball, name it, flag football, swimming, everything was canceled. Kindergartens are all about getting kids assimilated what school's like. You bring your backpack, you put it here, you're independent, you're using the bathroom. That's what kindergarten is about. You can't do that virtually. You can't assimilate them to school when they're not in school. Luckily, our friends moved nearby who we had known for a long time, and their daughter was also going to kindergarten at the same time in the same school. So the idea crossed our mind, why don't we group up with them and start a pod? The idea was these kids are going to be together in a room. For kindergarten, I don't think they're going to expect a full virtual day. We hired a teacher. The teacher is going to guide them, help them do online learning, help them navigate the virtual classrooms. And then after that, she can supplement their teaching and either teach them more in person or just, reinforce what was taught online. But then the school system changed it on us, and it was like kindergartners 9 to 4, virtually, on the computer.
I mean, teachers are doing a great job. They're trying their best to do what they do in class, but it's not sustainable. Their entire plan is like to keep them engaged for 7 hours, give them what they used to do in school in person. But let's just admit it, this is not normal times. It's a pandemic. We don't need to give them 7 hours of virtual, learning. It doesn't have to be more than 2 hours.
My biggest concern is we're dimming their yearning for learning. When you set them up on something where they're trying and they're not seeing results internally, they get frustrated and they shut off. That's the biggest concern I have. I communicated with the principal, with a group of 15 kindergarten parents, just letting them know they all agree that the hours need to be shortened from 9 to 4 to 9 to 1, Then I went above that. I wrote to the Fairfax County board members at large. And for that, I got a bigger group.
How was school?
Terrible.
Every day after 4, my kid is just so sad, and I have to say, good job, you did great, I'm so proud of you. They feel like they're doing something wrong by not understanding. Nobody's going to watch out for these kids' interests more than the parents themselves. And we want to be there advocating for them because they can't advocate for them. I don't mind if I fail, but I want to be able to tell him that I tried my best to change the system when I thought the system was not watching out for them. I believe that education is a fundamental right, and I want to change the system for everybody and make it better for everybody.
Perfect, that's exactly right. One of my students is named Alec. He is a 3rd grader and I'm tutoring him in math and writing, but we mainly focus on math.
When all the other workers have left, this robot gets busy cleaning hospital rooms. It is disinfecting using a form of ultraviolet light called UVC.
UVC light in particular is the optimal germicidal wavelength to deactivate bacteria, fungus, and viruses. And it does it either on surfaces or whether they're in the air. The robot was originally designed for hospital use to reduce hospital-acquired infections, which is a major problem in every health system globally. And it's very effective at doing that.
The robot is first trained on where to go and how long to stay there. After that, it can perform the same task autonomously.
Since COVID-19, all of a sudden, we were inundated with interest in the technology in a number of different sectors.
UV robots are now at work in hotels, offices, and airports around the world. For safety, people must leave the area or wear protective gear.
All forms of UV light are known to be harmful to the skin and to the eyes. And so it's very important that people exit the room or the space before the lamps come on.
Light-sensitive stickers can be used to determine how well the robot has performed.
And we know exactly for each bacteria or for each virus, exactly what energy level is required to deactivate it. We'll be able to see exactly what disinfection is happening, give reassurance and confidence that the disinfection is a sufficient level to deactivate what needs to be done.
Manual cleaning of high-touch surfaces is still recommended by experts. But the robots are adding another line of defense in the war against deadly microbes. Matt Dibble for VOA News.
Hey Ola, how you doing? My name is Ben. It's nice to meet you. All right, great. So we'll just be doing a little tutoring session. A mother bird sat on her egg. We tutor kids all the way from kindergarten up to 8th grade in math. Oh, here we have Gabrielle. In preschool to 2nd grade tutoring.
Oh, look, you know Spanish.
Yeah, that's great. Also, we've expanded into English as a 2nd language, and we're now offering Spanish, Chinese, and French language instruction. We read the news a lot, and we saw many articles coming out about the learning losses due to COVID. And in those articles, they were talking about how our generation could be. Alex and I found that very
time during shutdown to create Intutorly, which is an organization dedicated to providing that educational support and fixing the issues caused in education by the pandemic.
So this is our website, intutorly.org, and the first thing you'll see is I want to become a student or I want to become a tutor.
We very quickly grew from just a local organization to one that's now national and international. Thanks to our social media outreach efforts and the spread of word of mouth, we are now in 23 states and 3 other countries.
We also have a writing tutor here from Tennessee, so we can match them. Okay, so
all right, great. That's a good match.
I'll send the introduction email.
Yeah.
Intutorly is a matchmaking service. We connect our tutors with our students. So currently we have about 275 tutors and around 280 students.
How you've been working with your students? Like what are some tactics you've employed?
I like to incorporate different interests that they have into my lessons. So one of my is really into Harry Potter and the books. So
that's nice.
I like to have her write and read. And I taught her speech and debate, so she gave speeches on Harry Potter.
Oh, that's so funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great way to combine her interests with the subject matter.
Mm-hmm.
We have a good amount
I go to school with Ben and Alex. 3 of us compete on the speech and debate team together. So when they first started the organization, they recruited me as one of their first tutors.
So my high was that I've had 5 sessions with Delilah so far, French, and I think in the beginning she was kind of like hesitant. She wasn't like super engaged. It was like kind of awkward, but now she's getting more into it.
That's great to hear. As a suggestion, sometimes
the main way we connect with them is through our weekly meetings. We have these meetings every Sunday.
It's really helpful to get different ideas and inspirations from other tutors. For example, one tutor shared that they actually give a joke to their student before every meeting, and I thought that was a great idea. So now I do that with my students, and I also think that sharing resources is important.
So today we'll start with some division problems like we normally do to warm you up. So let me pull those up.
I'll try doing this by myself.
Okay, perfect. Just let me know when you're done.
I tutor 2 students right now, and I'm also in the process of getting in touch with a parent of a 3rd student.
So I think the answer is 10,125 remainder 1.
Perfect. That's exactly right.
One of my students is named Alex. He is a 3rd, but we mainly
Everything we learn, whenever we're doing something, she makes it fun. Like she makes it really fun for me to do.
Wait, how about in the house?
He has antenna. Look, I made SpongeBob SquarePants.
Staying with 3 kids at home during pandemic is extremely challenging. And on top of that, I have a full-time job. So I have to provide for my kids, take care of them, give them all enough attention, and do my job on top of it. I have signed up Alec for Intutorly back in June. And from the very beginning, I was very impressed with this program.
So let's try another problem.
The students have taught me so many lessons, and their willingness to learn and how engaged they are has inspired me to do the same in my life as well.
Hi, Henry. So today we're going to be looking at your writing sample.
I think that Alex and I have benefited a lot from our education, and I think it's time for us to give back, and that's really what Intutorly is. is us and all our high school volunteers giving back to the community and giving back to the students who need it the most.
He could not fly, but he could walk.
This desktop has only an internal GPU, which is located within the motherboard, and we want to improve the video capabilities by adding an additional GPU.
Yeah, so we were just checking if these two PCs use the same one, but no, it's flipped, so we're gonna need to order one specifically for this one.
My name is Khoi Nguyen, and I'm a senior at Osborne Park High School and also attending the Governor's School at Innovation Park in conjunction with George Mason University. And I'm also the Chief Operating Officer of FATI, which is the Free and Accessible Technology Initiative, started by myself and my partner Gideon Bayan, where we try to meet families' needs, especially during times of crisis in terms of access to education. So especially during the COVID-19 outbreak, schools around the nation have closed or refused in-person learning. They resort to virtual learning.
And it came to our attention that many of our peers didn't have a stable internet connection, or they needed to share one computer among multiple siblings, and we knew that we needed to do something to help. So what we do is we take donated goods, either monetary or physical donations, and we refurbish the computers and redistribute it to underprivileged communities throughout the Northern Virginia area.
And in this room, we have our donated laptops from all of our patrons. We shelve them all around the room. On our bottom shelf, we store our power cables.
The majority of our donations come from the Northern Virginia area, mostly from individuals that are in this area. But sometimes we get donations from neighboring states like Tennessee and North Carolina. From a young age, I was always fascinated with technology and computers. I actually built my own computer. That's the computer sitting on my desk.
I find so much fun, especially tinkering with technology. So when we realized that we could use not only follow through and interest, but give back to the community, we created the organization.
We usually come on the weekends. We usually do about 5 hours at the warehouse. We are a two-man operation right now, so it does take a lot of effort to be able to refurbish and redistribute computers all by ourselves. And in the past, I think we've had 56 confirmed deliveries.
We always try to balance work and play, so every once in a while we used to come out here and play soccer, you know, to take a bit of a break from refurbishing computers.
People contact us mostly through phone. So usually what I do is I send them a text to tell me a little bit more about their situation, so if we can fit their needs accordingly. This is a current request from Fredericksburg, Virginia. This is actually the delivery that we're going to do later on today. So once it's prepped for packaging, we usually clean the outside surface of the laptop, pair it with the laptop sleeve. Because of COVID, we include personal protective gear. So we usually add face masks, vinyl gloves, in the packaging. Can't forget the charger of the laptop. Close it. And this is the completed care package.
Yeah, so basically this is the care package that we provide to you.
Okay.
And in here you'll find the laptop and the charger itself.
Okay.
And due to increasing COVID rates, in here we have the masks and